a Union fan, Philly Union, baby. Pumping the Philly Union. Just want to give a shout out to those guys, my brother as well, and the work that they've put in over there. The best team in the MLS, and I think it's been 4 years running now in terms of their win record and how many games they've won and sustained success. And Coach Curtin and getting named Coach of the Year. They play in the MLS Cup this weekend, so Saturday night, tune in. I know I'll be watching like I was. I couldn't watch last week, obviously because we were playing at the same time. But congrats to them. I'm excited for my brother Tim and all that they've done there. The fan base, like here, a different sport, but their fan base is very much like the Bills Mafia in football, but in this case in soccer. So best fan base in the sport. So anyway, with that, I'll turn it over to you, and now we can get to your questions.
Just your thoughts on the two guys that you brought in yesterday, Hines and Marlowe.
Yeah, we'll start with Deane. Obviously, we're very familiar with Deane, and he was a great addition when he joined us a couple of years ago. And business happens, and so it's great to have him and his family back in Buffalo. And he's been a great culture piece for us, and a guy that knows our system and is very familiar with what we do. and then Hines, the skill set is what you've seen. We've played against him a few times in 20 and then again in 21, and had respect for what he was able to do on the field. And you hear a lot about him just in terms of the person that he is, the type of person, and how smart he is, and then the way he plays the game. So we'll see how it works out with both of those guys over the next couple of days, whether they play this week and what their roles are or not.
Coach, I mean, just with the background you've got on Deane, smart guy, 5-year veteran, what do you think is realistic for assimilation there?
I'm sorry.
He's parachuting in mid-season.
Yeah.
But he's a 5-year vet. You said he's a smart guy. What's realistic for his assimilation into the offense?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. He was at the walkthrough this morning, and we'll see what practice looks like, what we can get in there, and just take it one day at a time, really, Chris. And he's got to get a feel for us. We get a feel for him. We'll just see how it goes.
You've always talked about veteran-driven leadership. You have Shaq and Jordan coming back earlier this year. Now Deane coming back. How nice is it to add a perspective of, not that it was bad somewhere else, but different somewhere else, and then bring that kind of back into the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, everyone does it around the league their own way, right? The way that they want to do it, and we do it what we feel like is a good way here, and appreciate when players want to come back, whether it's by trade in this case or just acquiring them through other avenues, other ways. But it's great to see a familiar face, and when you call a player and he's excited, to come back, and I mean that makes you feel good, right? Just as a human being, and for what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it.
Can you give us some injury updates? Obviously, Poyer and maybe Trey White's status this week.
Yeah.
Whoever else is hurt.
Really all those guys are day to day. I've said that with Trey all along. We're just going to take it one day at a time, and we'll see where it goes. And to me, it's about the team, and that's the biggest driver of who we are and how we're trying to do things. Is the team is moving, and Trey will get there when he's ready. As far as Jordan goes, he's day to day. Milano the same way. I think Taiwan similarly, and then we got a couple guys on vet rest days. Vaughn and Roger in particular, and Daquan a little bit as well. So, we'll see how it goes. And Milano is day to day also.
Today?
I'm sorry?
Milano, will he practice today, Matt Milano?
I'm not sure if he's going to be. I think he'll be limited at best today.
Sean, whenever Trey does play, what's the balance of, we've seen Christian and Kyer split reps opposite of Deane. Dane's playing well. Just what's the balance of when Trey does come back of, still making sure that those rookies, continue with their development, get those meaningful reps while knowing that you've got Tre'Davious and Deane ready to go when Trey does, finally play again?
Yeah, again, I think if you look at it through the lens of Heather, the team, it's just trying to continue to move the team in the right direction and get Trey back in the fold and continuing to develop these young players who have done a really good job, and not stopping their growth in any way, shape, or form, but continuing to bring them along. And it all works out when you got good people and you try and do things the right way. It tends to work itself out over time.
Brandon was telling us how the deals, especially the Naeem one, kind of came together last minute. How involved are you yesterday, like in hearing what's going on? Like, what are you doing when he's figuring all that out?
I'm just answering his calls for the most part. No, I mean, as coaches, we live in a different world this time of year in particular because we're so routine-based. We have to deliver a game plan by pretty much Wednesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. So we've got some deliverables that we've got to get out there, and it's not as easy as some would think, I guess, when you're trying to deliver a game plan and then also do some of this over here. But, we welcome the additions and I'm never going to turn down good players, right? So it's Brandon does a great job with that and his staff, and we have tremendous trust in them.
How does that affect your timing of the day when you're trying to get that game plan ready and these are coming together so last minute, just, the guys you'll have?
Yeah, I mean, you handle it as it comes. There's a lot of interruptions in this job, and part of this job is solving problems and adjusting. So you kind of get used to it a little bit.
Sean, the last couple of weeks you've ruled out Tre'Davious White pretty early in the week. Are you ruling him out this week?
No.
Likewise, Hines. I mean, would you hold out? Who knows if he might?
Yeah, similar with Trey, like I said a few minutes ago. We'll just see how it goes one day at a time.
Sean, with Hines in particular, I mean, there's a guy that has punt returning ability, clearly. And the pass catching back, you've got two rookies in those spots. Cook is the pass catcher back, and Shakir is part of this move. You guys are in this serious contention window, and maybe not having to rely on two rookies down the stretch now in those key roles, and you've got a guy who can, a veteran guy who's done it before.
I mean, we have tremendous confidence in those guys. I mean, you look at the work that they've put in. James just came off of his best game as a Buffalo Bill on Sunday night, and I think Shakir has done a really good job in that role in particular. And a big part of that role is catching the ball, and people sometimes take that for granted, but that's a big piece of it. So I just think we're always looking to improve our team. And in this case, yeah, there's some overlap there perhaps, but we've found a way to what we think is improve our team, and that's what we're doing.
Do you see a difference in Zach Wilson from year one to year two when you watch his film this season?
Yeah, I would say when you play that position, there's a lot that's thrown out at that position or at you as a rookie quarterback, and you see him growing and evolving this year from last year, and he's doing some good things, and they've won quite a few games to this point in the time, and this is a really good Jets football team. They play great defense. They've got great talent. They've got great speed offensively, great speed defensively, and I think that's been well documented with the players that they have on both sides of the ball.
You know, we've seen the process here with how you've developed this program into what it is today, and it seems like they're in the midst of that process down there too with a young quarterback. I mean, what do you see as their evolution, I would say, what stage they're at as a contender in the division?
Yeah, that's a better question for Coach Sala. We have all the respect in the world for them, and it's clear that they're a really good football team. So as far as what stage they're in is probably a better question for him.
When you're looking at them on tape, what do you see from Sauce Gardner so far this year?
Yeah, when you build a team, you're looking at a corner that can lock it down over there, and he's a number one corner for them, it appears, and he's been all that's been advertised about him. Didn't do him a lot myself going through the draft because we knew he was going to be gone, and he was, and that was a very good pick by them. He's off to a very good start, so he'll be tough to deal with in the years to come for sure, and already is this year.
I know it's tough to always say goodbye to players in this business, and you had to do that with Zach this week. What has he meant to you for the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's the hard part, as we shared as a team this morning, is as much as you add, and some, there's subtractions, and those are hard, and you hope that it's best for both in this case, right? In terms of his playing time, what he wants, and also hopefully somewhere in here we get better maybe too. And so there's the personal side, though, that to me it's once a Bill, always a Bill, and I hope we can stay in touch. And he was great. His family was tremendous. He was a big part of why we're at where we are and helping us get this thing going a little bit here.
You don't have to do it anymore, but what was it like coaching against Naeem when you
Yeah, there was some. I mean, that's I was kind of alluding to earlier. There were some challenges with that, and you know how to defend him and where you're going to find him and some things like that. So he's a little bit of a challenge.
I know you look at the game a little bit differently now, years into your head coaching career. But is there, you know, when you guys are winning like you are, you mentioned Sauce Gardner not even looking at him. Is that kind of tough as a DB guy at heart, like not being able to maybe sink your teeth into somebody like that, like a really elite player at the position?
Yeah, I mean, but you make the most of it, and that's what you get paid to do. I think, you know, you'd love to be picking every year in the top 5, 10, even when you win, but that's hard to come by. So, but I'm fortunate that we've found good players. I think Brandon, again, and his staff have done a good job. I mean, I've been around it with the other teams I've been, that if you're good and you're sustaining success, you're going to be picking towards the bottom third of the first round, usually, unless you're able to work a deal somewhere. So, and then it's about development. So, yeah.
For you when you do get to watch Union games?
Oh, it's awesome. It's the environment. I know my folks were at the game last week, and the environment down there, they take videos and send it. And so after our game, in the locker room before I came in to speak with you guys, I was able to see that they won, and the environment down there was incredible. So again, it reminds me a lot about our environment here and our fan base, which is pretty cool.
Do you still have fun, or are you just anxious the whole time?
Watching the games, a little bit of both. My wife even sent me a video of our kids who were flipping back and forth, watching the 2 different games and singing the Union fight song and that type of stuff. So it was pretty cool to see.
Will team travel be dedicated and predicted upon what time the game starts?
I'm a routine guy, so my brother knows that. But yeah, as soon as we get in, I know I've got a production meeting to do, but I'll be trying to schedule that around the Union game. So, yeah. All right.